Okay, I'm continuing. This is my third video. I'm continuing on the first one. I want you to see was the empire's last day. The second one was about Christianity. And the last one, because for those that still believe that that's the Israel of the Bible, Jacob, which is not, I want you to understand what an era from the Ottoman era and the Balfour Declaration on the origins of Zionism. Zionism, by the way, is not Judaism. Zionism, and I'll explain it, and I want you to listen to me carefully so you can understand the difference, especially if you're a Christian who still believes that those people are God's chosen people, and meanwhile, you're attacking the real indigenous people that are descended from Jeshua. So here we go. For over 6 centuries under the Ottoman Empire, Jews, Christians, and Muslims lived side by side. The Jews expelled from Spain in 1492 found refuge in the Ottoman lands, building thriving communities in places like Salonika and Istanbul. While not fully equal under the Ottomans' law, the millet system allowed religious minorities to govern their own affairs in relative peace. Zionism, however, was something different. It was not biblical nor ancient. It was a modern nationalist project born in the 19th century in Europe in an age of rising nationalism and anti-Semitism. Theodor Herzl, often called the father of political Zionism, laid out the vision in Der Judenstaat in 1896. Importantly, Herzl proposed Argentina or Palestine as possible sites for the Jewish state. In 1913, Britain even floated the Uganda scheme in East Africa. The Zionist Congress rejected the option, consolidating its focus on Palestine. By the First Zionist Congress in Basel in 1897, the goal of securing a Jewish homeland in Palestine had become a political campaign, not a biblical inheritance, but a European political project. Britain overlapping promises. If you remember before when I spoke about the Rothschilds in Britain, how they borrowed money from the Rothschilds and defeated France, Napoleon Wars, you will understand why they might have had some favors to Rothschild. But listen to this. During World War I, Britain made conflicting commitments about the region's future. Hussein McMahon corresponds in 1915 to 1916, suggested support for Arabs' independence. Sykes-Picot Agreement in 1916, secret deal divided the Ottoman lands between Britain and France. Right? Because Britain fought the Ottoman Empire and won. So, the Balfour Declaration was done in 1917. Britain pledged, Britain pledged support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while promising not to harm the rights of existing non-Jewish communities. After the war, the League of Nations mandate in 1922 handed Britain formal control of Palestine, embedding the Balfour Pledge into international law. With increased immigration, land purchases, and rising tensions, the stage was set for violent conflict. By 1947, Britain withdrew and United Nations voted for partition. Israel declared independence in 1948, and the Law of Return in 1950 gave Jews worldwide an exclusive right to immigrate, cementing Zionism into state policy. What European Zionists and Israel did to Palestine. The historical records documents a consistent pattern of dispossession, expulsion, and violence. In 1936 to 1939, the Great Palestinian Revolt, Palestinians rose against British rule in the Zionist land policies. Britain crushed the revolt, weakening Palestinian leadership. In 1947 to 1949, Nakba, the catastrophe, planned Dalit Zionist blueprint for military takeover and depopulation. The Deir Yassin massacre in April 9, 1948, Ergun Lehi paramilitaries killed over 100 villagers near Jerusalem, triggering mass flight. Lida and Ramley expulsion in July 1948 as part of the Operation Dani around 750,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled. Over 500 Palestinian villages depopulated or destroyed. In 1956, Qasim massacre, Israel's border police killed 49 Palestinian citizens under the surprise curfew. In 1967, to present, occupation, Israel seized the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, launching decades of settlement expansion, land confiscation, house demolition, and military rule. In 1982, Sabra Shatila massacre in Beirut, Lebanese Phalangist militia massacred civilians while Israel forces controlled the area. Israel Kahan Commission found Israel indirectly responsible. In 2008 to 2009, Cast Lee, Gaza, 22 days of bombing killed over 1,000 Palestinian, many civilians. 2014, the protective age in Gaza, over 2,000 Palestinians killed, including hundreds of children. 2018 to 2019, the Great March of Return, Gaza, United Nations inquiry found Israeli forces unlawfully used live fire on demonstrators. In 2021, Sheikh Jarrah, East Jerusalem, Palestinian families threatened with eviction to make way for settlers. In 2023, before October 7, the deadliest year for Palestinians in West Bank since records began, over 500 killed, including more than 200 before October. Zionism is the continuation of biblical Israel. Zionism is not the continuation of biblical Israel. It was a modern European nationalist movement empowered by colonial powers and enforced through expulsion, massacre, and occupation long before October 7th. The historical record shows Palestinians endured systematic violence, dispossession at the hand of the Zionist militia and later Israeli state. And there's a lot more, guys, and I could give you more information, but these are facts. You could grab my information, you could chat, you could go to ChatGPT, DeepSeek, fact check it, and you see what I'm conveying here. It is correct, it's historical correct. And we are all waking up, which is why they also took now over TikTok, right? A Jewish man took over TikTok, Zionists, because they don't want you to know the truth. A lot of us woke up through TikTok, right? There's a lot of information where we saw innocent children being killed, massacred to this day. And obviously the world is up in uproar. And who's supporting that? The United States. Therefore you are. You're complicit because your tax dollars are paying for that. We all are. And evil persists when good men do nothing and remain silent. So it's up to us, the American people, and those that really believe in Yeshua, God, whatever you want to call it. Those that believe in love should be speaking up against it. But we rather put our head inside the earth, right, in the sand, and not say, okay, this is wrong. We got to stop this, right? The only way I feel that we're going to correct this, and I think it may be too late because we are involved in a lot of stuff going on in global conflicts that is going to lead to World War III. And I believe we're definitely going to be attacked. And I believe maybe even Russia is going to come to our soil and, civil war. There's a lot going on. But regardless of whatever I believe, I know that the empire is collapsing. And all we could do is stay on the side of love, right? Love your enemy, right? They say love your enemy. Well, I know that's hard to do, but for sure, love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor, because the enemy is not your neighbor, your brother, your friend, your relative. The enemy is a small group of people, an elite running the Western world, and their empire is collapsing, and they will stop at nothing to destroy us. They'll get us into conflict. They'll hide in bunkers because obviously they don't want to lose control on that power, and it's happening. Through BRICS, it's happening. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And obviously there are many Latin countries that have joined them, and the United States is part of this Zionist regime, these elites, Jesuits, elites, very global, powerful people, and they are not going to relent. They're not going to give up their power. The dollar is crashing. It's all a myth. It's a legal Ponzi scheme. If you look at fractional lending, you will see what I mean and how it works. I've done videos on this, and I've done the mathematics, but I'm just conveying the story here because you guys need to wake up. Whenever someone is pointing you to somebody, hate this person, hate that person, then you got to think about it, because obviously we are all humans. We are all could be corrupted, right? But we are all human. And for you to believe that this race here is bad or this race is bad, no. Every child is born under love. Maybe 1% are born psychopaths, right? They have no feelings, they have no emotions. Those tend to be the ones that end up being in high places and power, right? Become multi-billionaires because they have no emotions, they don't have those regular emotions that like you and I love. But people in general are just followers, and you're a follower. If you believe in certain things, you are a follower, because if you're attacking another group of people, right, another race, right, then you're just being programmed and deceived, because we are all the same. We all belong to the human race. And if you stay in the spirit of love, you will be able to see that and not be controlled and manipulated. But no, the media is dividing you. They own the media, Republicans, Democrats, right, Fox, CNN. So they'll give information here, so you're fighting against each other. But guess what? When it comes to Israel, no, some billions. Oh, we can't have illegal documents here, right? Even though we destroy the countries, we put people in places for our interests, those elites' interests, because not even America's interests, right? So they become multi-trillionaires, right? But the people are suffering. They can't afford grocery. They can't afford health care. You are part of a membership. You are a citizen. You pay taxes to get all these benefits, and then what they do? They don't give it to you. No, then they send billions to Israel to kill children. We are complicit. Israel and the United States is one and the same. And the world is woken up. And because of it, just like our arrogance, just like Israel's arrogance, they are being destroyed as we speak in Iran. I'm telling you, they're going to wipe them out. Okay? They're going to wipe them out. America's going to get hit as well. We are not as powerful as we make the world believe. People have evolved in technology. Iran, for example, got missiles at 21, 22 max speed. That's 20 times, above 20 times the speed of sound, for God's sake. Our ships are sitting ducks out there. Our Navy fleet are sitting ducks. We're being lied to. And the media control, they want to perpetuate that fear, that lie. But our days are numbered, guys. And all I can tell you is love your neighbor, love the immigrant, stop hating, stop being manipulated and used. You're fighting with Democrats and Republicans, and those two people, those are people, but the actual political parties, the owners of those parties, are owned and managed by an elite group of people, one being Israel, the Zionist regime of Israel, not Israel in entirety, but they're controlling. A lot of people just follow, just like you are following, you believe. You're attacking your neighbor. You're dividing families. Why? Where is the love? Where is the love? I get it, we got to protect our borders. But there's people that have been here for 20 years. They're attacking. It was on an excuse. American citizens have been attacked. American citizens have been killed. I said this over a year ago that this was going to happen. And even then, when they came with the Enemy Alien Act, I gave you historical facts, and I told you what was going to happen, and it's happening now. Our government is divided. Obviously, you got the civil, you got police, eventually going to fight with the federal. I said it, with ICE. Because people are going to defend their families. If you're dividing family, what do you expect people to do? You're naive if you think people are just going to stand by and do nothing. And then you get mad when they actually start revolting. Or they're, what they call that, when, Jesus Christ, when they're doing a parade and they're basically saying, trying to stop something. I forgot right now, my mind goes blank. But the point is, you are naive if you think that the people are not going to fight back. They are. But remember, when there's a battle between good and evil, which side are you on? If you on the side that's dividing families and you think it's okay, then you are evil. They're killing people. They're disappearing. They're killing them, just like what happened in Nazis. We founded the Nazis. If you heard what I read before, this is a fact. Senator Prescott Bush and many in Wall Street founded the Nazis. It's all about control. It's all about a banking cartel. They want to run the world. So when you look at government, think of government. Don't think of government people that you put in power, because you didn't put them in power. They put them in power. They give you the perception that you're voting for these people when you're not. They're being controlled and owned and manipulated, for example, by a genocidal regime, elites of people that are running America. And the only way, if we even had a shot, we have to have term limits with senators. We have to not allow dual citizenship within the government, right? Israel's running AIPAC, is running America, okay? Well, you have to stop inside trading for the Congress because they create laws that favor certain conglomerate companies, and they basically eat up these smaller companies, right? Or they do what is called a hostile takeover, and they create all these rules that benefit them, putting pressure on these smaller companies to close, that they cannot compete. This is not even a true capitalism. It's an oligarch, right? But it's not even true capitalism. And I hear the ignorance, people talking about socialism and all that. Listen, guys, there are many countries that are socialism work fine. One of the biggest one of the best socialist countries, Sweden. Switzerland. Sweden. Right? There are many others. So socialism is not the issue. No. Even capitalism in reality is not the issue. Although capitalism tends to, after 250 years, tend to eat itself up. It's a parasitical system. I don't have time to explain it. Common sense should explain it to you. If you look at companies compete with each other, and eventually the smaller ones fail off, the higher ones. But no matter what, they have to have a, I forgot the word, that they have to look out for the best interests of the stockholder, which is what? Increase their share value, right? So what they have to do, create more and create more and create more, right? Taking away from our natural resources, so higher prices. But they can't because they're competing, and they raise the price, they're competing. So now what they have to do is pay you lower wages, right? Employment, pay you lower wages. So here they are racking billions, and the CEO making all this money while you are just getting the crumbs. This system does not work. You're eating the crumbs that fall off your master's table. And look around, who owns these other companies? You are naive, you're blind. Look. Who owns these companies? Who runs these companies? It's not the shareholders. Look at the board of directors. That's what you got to look at. Look at BlackRock. Look at Vanguard. Do your due diligence. You're being manipulated. You're being controlled. And eventually you're going to end up homeless. People can't even afford a house. You got to look at... I've done many videos and I showed mathematically graphs and statistics of your income, your debt to income ratios, how to apply for a house, how much more, basis on income, how much more a house has gone up, the trends. And we're running out of time, guys. The truth is, stay in the spirit of love. That's what I can say. Love your neighbor. Don't be manipulated. That you're being used. If you're fighting against Democrat, Republican, you're being used, because they're both being controlled by a higher elite group of people that do not have the best interests of we the people. And never forget the Declaration of Independence. A lot of people think that was by our founding fathers. Yeah, they put them in place. But a lot of it came from indigenous people, right? That America breached those agreements with them. And remember, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, government are instituted among men, deriving their just power, not absolute power, just power from the consent of the governed. And you got to read the rest, because when the eventually comes to the end, you have the right to abolish the government. And read it. There's a lot more detail. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and share. Bye-bye.